Welcome to space. If you're wondering what's going on up there, we would be more than happy to let you know. So, it's been several years since we started making these videos, folks, and thanks everybody who's tuned in. We're going to start out by looking at the Earth. And we like to cover facts, not fear-mongering, not hypocritical nonsense, and not cherry-picking data. So this is the last 4 hours of magnetohydrodynamic pressure around the planet. It's Earth's magnetic moment from space, modeled in nanopascals. That's the last 4 hours. Things pretty calm here, geomagnetically speaking. Here's Earth's magnetic moment from the ground, modeled in nanotesla. We're also going to cover coronal holes and sunspots. We've got a new one. And more. Anyway, this is the last 4 hours of geospace delta B, Earth's magnetic moment from the ground level. KP index pegged at 2 here for the past 18 hours. So geomagnetic calm conditions. Solar wind speed has recently moved around a little bit, and Earth is in a new current sheet. We'll get to it. Current conditions are for the solar wind 493 kilometers per second. That's the speed. The density is about 7 protons per cubic centimeter. So here's the new current sheet. Earth is now in a South Pole current sheet. You can see it here in red. South Pole current sheet, having just exited the North Pole current sheet since yesterday's video. Here are your GOES magnetometers for the past 3 days. Those arc jet moments are the GOES, that's both GOES satellites there, turning on their thrusters and creating plasma which can affect the magnetometer readings, so they include that arc jet moment in case there are problems with the data. Here's a line of sight of the heliospheric current sheet. Also the solar magnetogram depicted here. And next, moving into coronal holes. So watching the solar polar field reversal process occur is one of the things we do daily on the channel. You can see the south solar polar field here migrating toward the north, and vice versa with the north solar polar field. It's probably a more important feature than the sunspots themselves, although we do see higher levels of sunspots in the middle of that process. Next, we'll take a gander here at coronal holes visually speaking. You can see these coronal holes over here rotating in. And those are South Pole oriented. You can see them here depicted in red. That's 193 angstroms. That's ionized iron, one of the many ionized iron species emitting ultraviolet light from the solar chromosphere. We've also got a crazy prominence. We'll cover that in our bonus feature segment. That'll be a Twitch exclusive at twitch.tv/smashomash. Next, moving into sunspots. Again, we've got a new sunspot down here. This one will be known as 2998. This one here hasn't been named yet. This is going to be 2997. This one down here is going to be 2998. They should both get names today. But 2997 is quite complex magnetically speaking. It's capable of producing large flares, especially when it's so close to the limb. So here's our 1700 angstroms wavelength. And 2993 and 2994 have been mostly stable since yesterday. Just moving past the earthly zone here, the direct Earth-facing portion of the solar disk. Quite a lot of sunspots. And let's continue on. To remind you to press like and subscribe. Once again, thanks to our viewers who've tuned in to the channel over the past few years. I started covering space weather because I realized that there was a niche and that nobody was covering what I wanted to see covered. So I created the content myself because there were certain sets of data that I wanted to immerse myself in and view every day. So part of the reasoning was to cast these videos onto a larger screen. So thanks everybody who's been encouraging us to do that. It's good stuff. So if you enjoy the content, press like, press subscribe, tell your friends and foes. We're approaching 2,500 subscribers. Oh my God, it's time to retire. If you'd like to support the channel, head to smashomash.com, click on the Smasho merch link or the Smash Team link, and welcome each of you to the Neo Renaissance. Your viewership is greatly appreciated. We're also on Twitter. Almost at 250 followers on Twitter. Wow, we're just blowing up. And almost at 150 followers on Twitch. It's an extravaganza. We've already streamed once today. And we replaced Patreon with a superior website, smashomash.com/smashteam. Thanks to our especially gold and silver members. There's also a bronze level where you can log in for free. And you can view all of our video content in one convenient link by clicking on posts. Once again, thanks most of all to the Smash Team gold and silver levels. There's also a gold annual paid-up subscription. It's the best value. Let's get back to X-ray flux. And you can see the background flux here moving back down into a B level. So we saw sort of a background level here of a C level X-ray flux. Now we're seeing that drop a bit. So yeah, I would expect a drop in the radio flux as well. The radio flux still at 163 though. 163 solar flux units for the radio flux. Anyway, that's the X-ray flux over the past 3 days. No spikes in the proton flux. No major flares to report. If there had been some major flares, they would be well depicted in 94 angstroms. I would say the most likely spot to see a major flare would be out of this group here. Sunspot 2997 still hasn't been named. It ought to be named today. We've also got 2998 down here just risen over the southeastern limb. So more action coming. You can bank on it. Next, we've put up a star chart. As we do daily, we appreciate when our viewers are oriented. Where were you when Cygnus rose? It's not going to set for a long time in the northern hemisphere. And once again, if you're up before dawn, you may see the moon, Saturn, Mars, Venus, and Jupiter all rising ahead of the closest star. Let's do a solar system forecast before we close things out. There's where things will be on April 30th. That's the new moon, my favorite phase. What's your favorite phase? Let us know in the comments. Are you a full moon person, a new moon person, crescent waning, crescent waxing, gibbous waning, gibbous waxing? Let us know. Last but not least, coronagraphs. And nothing too exciting going on in the coronagraphs. We're going to show them anyway. The stereo A is located at Lagrange 5, and the Soho-Lascaux C3 located at Lagrange 1 on your right. And for you new viewers, the Earth would be behind you from the Soho-Lascaux's perspective, and the Earth would be off in this direction from stereo A's coronagraph. Anyway, we do have a prominence up here in the northern hemisphere. It's sort of not on the earthly side of the sun. And yeah. Oh, and last but not least, everybody who comments on the thumbnails and doesn't watch the videos, our thumbnails are designed to get you to watch the video. So if you're just answering a question asked on the thumbnail, it's probably answered in the video. So, but in any case, hey, thanks for tuning in if you did. And I guess if you're only commenting on the thumbnail and not watching the video, or the thumbnail and title and not watching the video, then I don't know what to tell you. Watch the videos, press subscribe, press like, and we should be back with more tomorrow, God willing. Talk to you soon from the Smash News Network, least busted name in news. I've been your host, Dan, a.k.a. Smashomash, signing off.